Good afternoon. My name is Brittany Mantell, and today I will be reviewing several articles relating to the general characteristics of the Millennial Generation. These articles discuss skill strengths, gaps, and preconceptions these students bring to the classroom. After reviewing some general information, you will meet Mrs. Amy Mantell, a 7th grade English teacher at the Mars Area School District, who will share her thoughts on the Millennial Generation. The first article I reviewed was Teaching the Millennial Generation by Andrea McAllister, an assistant professor of piano pedagogy at the Oberlin Conservatory of Music. McAllister reviewed the basic characteristics of the Millennial Generation, those students who were born between the years 1982 and 2002. These students have grown up in a society that is always connected. Technology drives the lives of millennials, and we need to adapt our teaching to enhance students' learning. McAllister reviewed 6 different characteristics of the millennial generation. First, millennials are sheltered. They are surrounded by their helicopter parents and can often do no wrong. Second, millennials are team-oriented. They enjoy working in social, cooperative group settings. Even when they're isolated from peers, they remain connected through texting and cell phone use. Millennials are a confident generation. They grew up receiving a trophy for participation, even when their team came in last place. Millennials have come to expect these kinds of rewards, which leads us to millennials are achievement-oriented and pressured. They want to achieve success in all areas of their lives and have structured activities that take up most of their day. Most millennials plan to attend a 4-year college and understand that the admissions requirements are high. Millennials are also multitaskers. With such a variety of technology available, millennials see no problem using technology while trying to complete their homework. Lastly, millennials are tech-savvy. They often use trial and error to absorb the latest technology and rarely even glance at the written instructions or handbook. This type of trial and error learning is often seen in the world of video gaming and for solving puzzles. McAllister uses these 6 traits to identify strengths, instructional strategies for student learning in the classroom, and possible drawbacks. First, she suggests that using technology in the classroom is important in order to engage students. They appreciate multisensory engagement. However, several studies have shown that learning may suffer when one is attempting to process several layers of unrelated information all at once. Although multitasking doesn't harm short-term memory, it did cause the information to be more difficult to retrieve at a later time. In addition, McAllister's article stated that millennials enjoy learning that imitates gaming and are more apt to participate when working in teams or groups. Another article by David Considine, Julie Horton, and Gary Mormon, titled Teaching and Reading the Millennial Generation Through Media Literacy, discusses how technology has transformed the way we produce, distribute, and receive information. When we think of text, we no longer think of just printed materials like books and newspapers. Text is now found more frequently on the internet, cell phones, films, and television. Because of the digital technologies available, today's teenagers bring a whole new set of literacy practices and backgrounds into the classroom. For instance, millennials have the option to view images, listen to sounds, and read text. Oftentimes, the use of both sounds and images enriches instruction. Millennials have the option of using wikis, blogs, chat rooms, and instant messaging, which is much more appealing than writing a research paper. Millennials like to have options, and with all of the available technologies, teachers should be able to provide plenty of options. The goal of educators should be to use these different technologies to bridge the gaps between knowledge the students have already acquired and the content they still need to learn. One major gap that this article addresses is that public schools often place heavy restrictions on the use of the internet, social networking sites, and sites like YouTube. This article argues that this is failing to bridge the gap between students' outside lives and how we want them to learn in the classroom. The author suggests that students' perceptions that school is boring and irrelevant stems from the lack of digital technologies in the classroom. A challenge for today's teachers is to provide students with the academic content they need to learn while utilizing technologies that are relevant and prepare students for life in the 21st century. Let me now turn to Mrs. Amy Mantell and ask her opinion of what she sees in a traditional classroom setting. Hi Amy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you, Brittany?
Good, thank you. My first question today is, what traits do you see in millennials in your classroom?
I would say that some of the general traits would be that they're very achievement oriented. They like to do well, and for the most part, they like to please the adults in their lives, whether it's their parents or their teachers. I think there's more pressure on the students nowadays to try to perform well to please their parents and their teachers.
Absolutely. Okay, and what skill strengths or weaknesses do you see in millennials in your classroom?
Some of the ones I think that come to my mind the most are that they are very good at collaborating with their peers. They do use technology very well and they use it effectively to gain information and to complete assignments and also to communicate with other people. I would say they're goal oriented, as I said. I think in the 13 years that I've been teaching, they're more visual learners from all the entertainment and all the technology they have. And I think they're better at articulating their thoughts through writing versus speaking than they used to be because of email and texting and instant messaging.
Right, absolutely. Those are all good characteristics and strengths and weaknesses. What about any preconceptions or biases that may not hold true for all millennials?
I would say that some of them, but not all of them, feel that learning should always be fun and that the teacher's job is to be an entertainer and that their classes should always be student-centered and that they should have a lot of say into the decisions that are made in the classroom.
Very good. And my last question, what instructional strategies do you feel work best with the students in your classroom?
I think any instructional strategy that would incorporate technology and completing tasks independently, working collaboratively, but also having whole class discussions. Some examples that I can think of off the top of my head would be literature circles.
Okay.
Because the kids are making a choice as to what book they read. I give them 6 books and they get to choose. So they're working independently on their tasks, but they're also collaborating with other students in their group who chose the same book.
Okay.
And I incorporate technology into that by when I introduce the books, I show them different aspects of the novel, whether it's the characters or the setting, that will kind of pique their interest in the novel.
Okay. And what types of technology do you have available in your classroom?
The main technology I have would be a Promethean board, which is a smart board. And I've been using that more and more. I've had it for 2 years now. And I use it to teach vocabulary. And I use it, like I said, to show pictures and photographs to the kids and things like that and videos.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
After reviewing the articles and hearing Mrs. Mantell's input, I have analyzed the information and came up with several teaching strategies I would like to implement in my virtual classes this year. First, I feel that the Millennial Generation would benefit immensely from using more Web 2.0 tools to create projects rather than completing writing assignments. Instead of writing a summary on a chapter of To Kill a Mockingbird, students could create a podcast summarizing the important events. Instead of writing a paper on the history of World War II, students could create a flip book or slidecast including photos and music. Students could then have the option of writing captions to go under the photos or recording audio to verbally tell about the pictures. Providing students with more options like the one I just mentioned is another teaching strategy I hope to implement in my classes this year. When millennials feel that they have some control and freedom over their learning, they tend to do better. In addition, I hope to have students participate in more breakout rooms this school year. As a cyber school, students do not have as many social opportunities throughout the school day as their peers who attend brick-and-mortar schools. By allowing students to work in small groups to complete math problems, tackle science experiments, or research important historical events, They may be more engaged in the lessons. When students are able to work together, make their own choices, and use the many digital technologies that are available to them, they will undoubtedly be more engaged in their learning. I hope that this podcast provided you with some beneficial information about the Millennial Generation and the strengths and skills that they bring to the classroom. In addition, I hope you learned some valuable information as to what instructional strategies work best with this group of students. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.